All right, hello everyone. Welcome to March. The javelin season is upon us. Outdoor track is nearly here. Competitions are already starting up. I'm here today to try to clarify the competition training phases for our javelin built program. So the goal with some of the information I'm going to share is how to organize your mental and physical energy over the next handful of months so that you can do what you want, and that is throw your personal best when it matters most at those championship meets. So we're going to get into three main things. We're going to talk about what we're doing over the months in terms of when we're building capacity, when we are building the strength, mobility, technique, power associated with javelin throwing. And if you're part of our program, you know what that's all about. And then we're going to talk about the months that are really focusing on execution, right? Is that letting what we've done all year shine through. So we're maintaining those physical qualities, but we are executing, right? So we're letting our competition performances take precedence. That's a little bit lower volume of training, and we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about the technique and the physical objectives during this competition phase. And then I'm going to leave you with a handful of rules, right? So we're not going to follow all these rules all the time, but some of the time are going to help you be at your best during these competitions. So let's jump right into it. First off, some of you have been with us since October, right? You've been building fitness throughout the last several months. Some of you are new to the program. Either case is fine. This program will help meet you where you are. You can tailor the training to your current level. And this guide is going to help you know what to do over the next handful of months. We're going to divide this up into our high school throwers, our college throwers, and our masters and elite throwers, because everyone's schedule is a bit different. During March and April, across the board, we are continuing to build our javelin shape, right? So that is the flexibility, mobility, throwing power, technique, strength, speed, jumping ability, all of those qualities we're going to continue to build. It's a bit higher volume, higher intensity of training. There are some early season competitions, but we're using those early competitions to learn to throw with our competition stress. In May, June, we shift a bit for some of our groups. For high school, now we're getting into our regional, our state. Some of our national championship meets are in May and June. Here, these are execution months. Our focus is on having our body prepared, and that's what these rules are going to help you with, having our body prepared to give it the best shot on that day, to rise to the occasion of the competition and do our best. So that's the same for our high school, our college throwers. That's also conference season. We're getting into late May regionals, early June NCAAs. For our masters and our elites, we're still continuing to do some building. We do have some higher level competitions, but really what the masters and elites are looking forward to is that their national championships and then international competitions in that July, August timeframe. So the Open Championships, the Masters Championships, those are in July, August. We're now looking at different international competitions. For July and August, across the board here, now we're all in execution mode, right? So we are maintaining those physical qualities, but really setting ourselves up at every competition to let the personal bests come through. Okay, during July for high school throwers, we might have our USATF nationals. We might have some junior Olympic competitions for college. Maybe you've qualified for the US championships. We've talked about the national championships for masters and elite. And then hopefully we're getting over to do some international competitions so we can test our mettle against the best in the world. Okay, next up, technical and physical. So during these competition phases, what are our priorities from a technical and physical perspective? So you've seen this before on previous phases, the what and the how. So technical, it is all about trust. Trust in yourself, trust in your coach, in your plan, in all of the work that you put in your technique. So when we build trust, we throw with relaxation and confidence. That's when we're going to do our best. So we are looking to learn to throw in these early competitions with that competition anxiety. We now have a foul line that matters a little bit more. We have competitors, right? There's more skin in the game. So that stress, that anxiety, when used correctly, can raise our performance. We just need to learn how to use it. How are we going to do that? Early competition. We also need to refine our cues. You'll notice as you're throwing more intense, we just did this today with some of my athletes in our training group. As you're more intense, time goes away. Everything happens fast. Now our cues are a bit different. Some of the things you might have done from a 5-step throw or an easy 3-step throw do not work from full approach. So we have to refine our cues, refine our timing for these high intense throws. From a physical perspective, we talked about building and maintaining javelin shape. Everyone's javelin shape is going to be a bit unique. You need to learn about yourself. How do you feel? How do you perform when you throw far in terms of flexibility, strength, speed, right? But we are maintaining, and in some months, as we showed over here, building that strength, right? That jumping ability, that speed, and that technique, that finesse to throw the javelin correctly. And then how are we doing that? Higher intensity training, a bit lower volume, and then we're going to mix in some potentiation. So potentiation is a fancy word to pair exercises. It might be jumping with lifting or throwing one medicine ball, maybe with a javelin, but we are going to stimulate our nervous system. So we're going to stimulate the electric power in our body, right? The signals going from our brain to our muscles, stimulate that so that our technique can perform higher. Lastly, the rules. So again, like I said earlier, we're not going to follow all of these rules all of the time. Everyone is a bit different, but if you follow most of them most of the time, you're going to set yourself up to perform well in competition. So these are rules during your competition week. For lifting, no lifting greater than 85% of your maximum 48 hours before the meet, right? So this is intended to make sure that you have nervous system freshness. So what do I mean by that? That means that when we lift very heavy, when we sprint very hard, when we do a high volume of high intensity training, our nervous system, right? That is the signals between our brain and our muscles, it dampens, right? We're fatigued. We need to recover so that we can execute these fine-tuned, highly timing-dependent technical actions. So this rule really helps athletes have a nervous system that is able to execute their javelin technique to the best of their ability. So keep that heavy lifting at least 2 days before the meet. No javelin throwing 24 to 48 hours before the meet. So some people, this may be a rule that you really don't like, but the majority of athletes that I've met, we need to take 24 to 48 hours so that our body, our tendons and ligaments, our nervous system is fresh and we can execute our competition technique to the best of our ability. So this is going to try to keep you healthy and keep you performing well in those meets. During the week of the meet, so say the 5 days prior to the meet, we want to have at least 2 active recovery days. So this doesn't mean totally off, they could be off, but it means lower intensity, easy training. So this gives you enough rest. And again, we're talking about nervous system freshness so that we can execute the timing during these throws. And then lastly, this will help you gauge volume as well. So during that meet week, keep all of your lifting sessions 45 minutes or under, right? So we want to get in the gym, do the work, get out. That doesn't mean not taking your rest. That means not messing around and not doing an excessive volume. So high quality work in under 45 minutes. And then the total training session, whether between warm up, whatever track workout, whatever throwing workout, jumping, sprinting, the lifting, all of that, including your cool down, 90 minutes or less. So this is going to help you keep that volume in check. Okay, so just in a quick summary for our competition phase. From March through August, we're transitioning from continuing to build, incorporating early season competitions where we're learning to use that competition stress to throw far, to pure execution, right? To really focusing on doing our best when it matters most. We talked about the technical and physical goals. Really, it's all about that trust and understanding how do we throw during that high intensity competition while maintaining our javelin shape. And adhere to these rules as much as you can. You're going to tailor them. It's very individual for some athletes, but this will give you a good place to start. Good luck, PRs, and championship season. Hope to see you there.